a small overview of the problems that I've encountered and how I've overcame them. With the filming, the weather was a bit of a problem because obviously it's sort of end of the year, so autumn, winter time, pretty rubbish weather anyway. So it was a bit of touch and go with when we got the cameras, whether we were going to be able to film anything. And the first time we did it was really overcast and grey, so it was a bit touch and go with that, and I think the film was really rushed when we tried to get it all done before it got really dark. With the also with the weather, the second time we filmed, it was so bright that obviously the contrast between the two sets of filming was really obvious. I think when we were editing, we did our best to try and tone down the bright one and bring up the darker one. Obviously you could still see the contrast, but we tried as best as we could to get the balance right. Also, we didn't really think the time frame very clearly, so we could have had time to go back and re-film and stuff like that, but we didn't have the time to do that, and that's our own fault really, because we did have plenty of time to do it. So at the end of the day, obviously the contrast between the two, that's just something that we had to go with, and I didn't think we really overcame it, but we did do the best we could with what we had. Also, we really wanted to film at the original location, which was the beach, but because of how cold it was and how far it was out of the way for both my actors, getting them there, plus the well, it wasn't easy to get to the locations for any of us, plus our schedules were all different, and we didn't have the most organised approach to it, so we didn't have the resources needed to get to the beach to film when we wanted to film. So we had to obviously change that idea, but it wasn't a problem because we made the second location work. So we made the park. It was obviously a neutral place to me anyway, and it was, I think, it sort of played with the convention of romance, because it's obviously, oh, the beach is a romantic place to be, let's go to the beach. But I think the park sort of played with the natural everyday life convention that obviously the short stories are based on. It's obviously got to be realistic, so I thought a beach would be less realistic, so that's how we overcame that one. What else? With the, obviously, music, we're not brilliantly musically talented, and we really didn't do much with music, and we didn't really overcome that problem either. It was still one of the points that our audience's feedback was. It was like, sort out the music. We were just like, it's not, we did as best we could with that, but obviously it wasn't the best. What else was there? To be honest, that problems in the editing, we weren't brilliantly, we weren't exactly whizzes. We found the editing hard. It was quite difficult to know what to do on what we were editing and what we were cutting out, and we had to keep to a time span. But eventually we got the shots that we wanted, and we put them in, and we had the time and the appropriate time limit, and we had the right shots, and we had the story. And other than that, I think any of the other problems that we came across, we actually did overcome, because we managed to get all the filming done, and we got pretty much all of the editing done. There could have been more done to it, but we got all of our stuff done as best as we could. So I think that we overcame. The whole thing was just a mixture of problems from the start, but I think we overcame the majority of them in the end.